The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the kind that comes when the world goes to sleep, but the kind that settles between two people who used to talk about everything. It was a Wednesday morning in late June, the kind of humid Miami day when the air feels like wet silk on your skin. The ceiling fan in our bedroom spun lazily above me, doing nothing to cut through the heat. I watched the sunlight creep across the white sheets, the same sheets where Laura and I used to lie tangled together, laughing, whispering. Now, she wasn't beside me. Her perfume lingered in the air, that faint citrus and vanilla scent she loved, but the spot next to me was cold. I heard her moving around in the kitchen, the soft clatter of dishes, the distant sound of her phone buzzing. "Morning," I called out. No answer. Just more clinking. When I finally got up and walked into the kitchen, she was standing by the counter, her hair tied up, her back to me. She was wearing a light blue dress, the one I'd bought her for our anniversary last year. It fit her perfectly, too perfectly, almost like she'd put extra effort into how she looked today. "Morning," I said again, a little louder this time. She turned, startled. "Oh, hey, babe. Sorry, didn't hear you." Her smile was too quick. Too polite. "Big day at work?" I asked, leaning against the doorway. "Yeah. You know how it is. Summer campaign, new client from Atlanta." She brushed a strand of hair behind her ear and avoided my eyes. Laura worked for a marketing agency in Brickell, the kind that handled luxury real estate and high-end travel brands. I'd met some of her coworkers before, mostly women in sharp dresses and men who wore cologne heavy enough to choke on. She loved her job, but lately she'd been coming home later than usual. "A networking dinner here, an after meeting there." At first, I believed her. Miami is the kind of city where business and nightlife blur together. But over the past month, something had shifted. She laughed less. Touched me less. Looked at me less. And when she did, her eyes seemed to wander somewhere far away, someplace I wasn't invited. That evening, I grilled mahi-mahi on the balcony while the sun dropped into Biscayne Bay. The air smelled like salt and smoke. I poured 2 glasses of white wine and waited for Laura to come home. By 9:30, she still wasn't back. Her text came at 9:42. "Running late. Client dinner ran over. Don't wait up." No heart emoji. No "love you." Just that. I stood there for a while, looking out at the water. Somewhere down the street, someone was playing Latin jazz loud enough to shake the windows. It felt like the whole city was alive, except for us. When she finally came home after midnight, she smelled faintly of tequila and expensive cologne that wasn't mine. The next morning, I tried to tell myself I was imagining it. People change. Work gets stressful. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But then I saw the receipt. A small white slip of paper sticking out of her purse as she got ready for work. The Ocean Grill, South Beach. 2 entrees, 2 cocktails. 11:37 p.m. I froze. We hadn't been to the Ocean Grill in over a year, not since our anniversary dinner, when she'd cried over the candlelight and said she didn't deserve how patient I was with her. So why was she there now, at midnight, with someone else? I didn't ask her about it right away. Not because I was afraid of the answer, but because I wanted to be sure. Miami is full of ghosts, and I didn't want to chase the wrong one. Over the next week, I watched her closely. The way she smiled when she checked her phone. The new lingerie tags I found in the trash. The faint red mark on her neck one Saturday morning that she brushed off as mosquito bites. Something inside me began to harden. We'd been married 9 years. I thought I knew every version of her, the young woman who used to fall asleep on my chest after thunderstorms, the driven professional who stayed up till 2 a.m. perfecting a pitch deck. But this version of Laura? This quiet, distracted stranger who flinched when I touched her, I didn't recognize her at all. One evening, I decided to follow her. She said she was going to a client dinner at the Shoreline Hotel, a sleek glass tower overlooking Collins Avenue. I parked a block away and waited. At 8:10, she arrived, but she wasn't alone. A man stepped out of a silver Tesla and met her at the entrance. Tall. Tan. Perfectly groomed, like he'd stepped out of a men's fashion ad. I watched as he placed his hand on her lower back, guiding her inside. My pulse thundered in my ears. They didn't look like coworkers. They looked like lovers. Miami nights have a way of hiding things. Neon lights, laughter, the smell of rum and ocean air, they can blur truth into something almost beautiful. But the ocean doesn't lie. I sat in my car for an hour, staring at the hotel doors, waiting for her to come out. When she finally did, it was nearly midnight. Her hair was messy, her lipstick faded. The man followed a few minutes later. They didn't walk out together, they were careful, but they both turned in the same direction down the street. Toward the parking lot. Toward his car. I followed at a distance. Watched as she got in. Watched as the Tesla drove away. And just like that, the truth swallowed me whole. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake listening to the waves crash outside our apartment window, the distant hum of traffic from Collins Avenue. The city never really sleeps, it just changes masks. At 3 a.m., Laura slipped into bed beside me. The mattress dipped under her weight. She smelled faintly of salt and something floral, perfume that wasn't hers. "Hey," I whispered. She froze for a second before whispering back, "You're awake." "Yeah." "You were out late." "Yeah, clients from out of town." "Sorry." Her tone was careful, like each word was being weighed before leaving her mouth. Then she turned on her side, facing away from me. I stared at the back of her head until sunrise. By the next morning, something inside me snapped into place, not anger, not sadness. Just a cold, steady clarity. I needed proof. So I started small. Checked her phone when she showered. The lock screen had changed, new passcode. Her laptop, too. She'd never done that before. That afternoon, when she said she'd be working late again, I decided to follow her a second time. This time, she drove to Coconut Grove, to a small boutique hotel tucked behind palm trees and pink stucco walls. Not a client dinner spot, too quiet, too private. I parked across the street and watched her go inside. 10 minutes later, the same man from before arrived. The Tesla gleamed under the streetlights. He didn't even look around, just went straight in. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. I sat there for nearly 2 hours, watching the windows. At one point, I thought I saw movement, a shadow crossing behind the curtains. By the time she came out, it was past midnight again. Her hair was loose, her dress slightly wrinkled. She checked her phone and smiled at something. That smile burned itself into my memory like a scar. I thought about confronting her that night. I imagined it over and over, her walking through the door, my voice cutting through the silence. "Who is he?" But when I heard her key turn in the lock, I couldn't do it. Instead, I pretended to be asleep. She moved quietly, setting her purse down, slipping off her shoes. The bed creaked as she lay down beside me. I could feel her heart racing through the sheets. For a moment, I almost reached out to her, to hold her, to ask why. But then I realized I didn't want the answer. Not yet. Days turned into weeks. The heat thickened, the air heavy with rain and tension. We became strangers living under the same roof, bound together by silence and pretense. She laughed more on the phone. She wore new dresses, lighter perfume, softer lipstick. One Sunday, I caught her in the mirror as she got ready to go shopping. She was glowing. I hadn't seen that look on her face in years, that soft, secret smile women wear when they're loved. But it wasn't for me. When she left, I stared at myself in that same mirror. My reflection looked older, hollowed out. There's something cruel about realizing you've been replaced in your own story. It happened by accident. A message popped up on our shared iPad while I was checking email, a photo sent from a contact saved as R. It was him. His arm around her waist. Her head tilted against his shoulder. Both of them on a yacht somewhere off Key Biscayne, the skyline glowing behind them. My throat went dry. My heart didn't even race, it just stopped. I scrolled through the messages. Weeks of them. Plans. Jokes. I love yous. Wish I could wake up next to you every day. He's working from home today, can't talk long. You make me feel alive again. I closed the iPad. And for the first time since it began, I cried. Not the kind of crying that comes with noise or anger, just quiet, endless tears that felt like they'd been waiting a long time to fall. For 3 days, I said nothing. I went to work, came home, cooked dinner, and watched her lie to me with the same soft smile she'd once used to say she loved me. But something inside me had changed. The silence wasn't weakness anymore, it was preparation. I started making copies of everything. Screenshots. Photos. Receipts. Hotel bookings. I wasn't sure what I'd do with them yet, but I knew I'd need them. Revenge, I learned, is just grief wearing armor. It happened on a Friday night. She came home late again, this time humming softly to herself. I was sitting in the living room, lights dimmed, a single lamp glowing beside me. "Hey," I said quietly. She froze. "Hey. You're up." "Yeah. Wanted to talk." Her eyes flickered. "Can it wait till morning? I'm exhausted." "No," I said. "It can't." I picked up the iPad from the coffee table and handed it to her. She looked down at the screen, the photo of her and the man on the yacht filling the display. For a moment, the world went silent. Then she exhaled. Slow. Defeated. "His name's Ryan," she whispered. "He's a client. It just happened. It just happened." I laughed, a dry, broken sound. 9 years of marriage, and it just happened. Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't feel pity anymore. I felt empty. Like she'd taken something from me I could never get back. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. "Yeah," I said softly. "But you did." The next morning, I packed a suitcase. She didn't stop me. She didn't cry, didn't beg. Maybe she knew there was nothing left to say. Before I walked out, I looked around the apartment, the balcony where we'd had wine on our wedding anniversary, the couch where we used to watch the storms roll in from the ocean. Every corner of that place held a ghost. I left the keys on the table. Miami was already waking up, sunlight breaking over the water, the city humming with life. I drove until the skyline disappeared in the rearview mirror. Sometimes, I think about what hurts more, the betrayal, or the love that still lingers despite it. But every time I remember her smile in that photo, I know the answer. I moved to Fort Lauderdale, closer to my sister. Got a new job managing a marina. The sea feels different now, quieter, heavier, like it knows my story. Every so often, I see couples walking by the docks at sunset. I used to envy them. Now, I just hope they know what they have before it's gone. Laura emailed me once, months later. Just one line. "I'm sorry. I hope you find peace." I never replied. Because peace isn't something you find. It's something you build from the ruins. And I'm still building.